The people have spoken, and by the people I mean Brent, and have demanded to know, where is the Marvel Collector's Edition video? Well, Brent, and for everyone else, you'll be happy to know that it is right here in front of your very eyes. Just a few days ago, Marvel's Avengers Earth's Mightiest Edition was announced. This is going to be a $200 collector's edition featuring the upcoming Marvel's Avenger game, plus a litany of other Marvel's Avenger merchandise. So let's go ahead and take a look at what $200 gets you. I will post a link in the description box below. As I say with every collector's edition, if you are even remotely interested about this edition at all, pre-order it now. I have a strong feeling this one's going to sell out. All right. So what's $200 get you? Well, there's quite a bit here to look through. You're going to get the deluxe edition of the game, which does have some digital goodies, and it's going to give you a 3-day early access as well, so you can play the game before all of your friends. You're going to get the Iron Man prototype armor blueprints, which looks to be like a double trifold essentially of how Iron Man's armor comes together. I think this is pretty cool. As a collector, I like this kind of stuff. This reminds me a lot of like something you would see from an art book. The only complaint I have, at least based on the way that it is presented, it looks like it's folded many, many times to fit into the box. Almost looks like you could probably fit it in a Steelbook based on where the actual folds are, and it's not going to frame or display well. I think a blueprint like this would look best if it was completely unfolded, honestly. This would be something a really hardcore fan, I think, would be interested in framing. Alternatively, they could have probably printed it on some other kind of paper, maybe a wall scroll or some sort of fabric or something like that to not give it these ugly lines and seams down it. This is probably going to be really hard to read unless it's laying completely flat, and it's probably never going to lay completely flat. But it's still a really cool idea. You're also going to get a Steelbook with the iconic logo of the Avengers. You're going to get an interesting Black Widow belt buckle. So if you ever wanted to cosplay as the Black Widow, you would be able to get this and wear it proudly. You're also going to get the Mjolnir Keychain, which is pretty cool. I have a pewter version of this keychain that I keep on my desk. I use it as my gavel, order in the court, so to speak. Keychains like this that are this bulky really don't serve a lot of practical application, but they're really neat to look at. Based on at least how it's compared to some of the other things, assuming all these photos are to scale, I have no reason to believe that they're not. It looks like it's a pretty beefy keychain, so that's kind of cool. You're also going to get a 6-inch Hulk bobblehead, which Incredible Hulk, definitely one of the cooler Avengers in my opinion. I like the bobblehead figurines. Maybe I don't really think this would have worked well as a pop vinyl. I like some of the detailing on him. I can't tell from the photo or not. It looks maybe like his arms may move. There's a seam where his arm connects to his chest. I'm not sure if that's just the way the mold was put together, or if you can maybe raise his arms up a little bit. I think that'd give it definitely a little bit more functionality, I guess, essentially from a figurine. You're also going to get Avengers pin, so you could be an honorary Avenger. And then you're going to get into two of the more controversial things. This is the 5x7 Avengers Group Day photo and the full-color Captain America statue, which stands 12 inches tall. Let's go ahead and take a look at the photo first, and then let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about the figurine. So I'm going to blow this up. Understand it's going to be slightly pixelated because this photo is only so big, and I want this to be nice and big so you guys can take a look at this with me. So let me move this over here and scroll this down here. Okay. So where I feel like this game is going to make or break a lot of people, myself included, is that we for, I don't know, 20 years, how long has the Marvel, film universe been going on? Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark to many people. And I understand that he has a total different comic book persona, different look, and, you look at who these people look like, and they don't remind me of the people I just watched for so many films. And I feel like that is where a lot of this game is going to potentially fall apart for people. I think true hardcore comic book fans are going to have no problem whatsoever when it comes to enjoying this game for the essence of the hero. But this does not look anything like Thor to me at all. And Captain America looks kind of just like my neighbor's dad. He just doesn't have a very chiseled, grizzled look that I think Chris Evans brought to that character. Now, Brent did a very, very, very detailed, long video, and I will post a link in the description below. I highly encourage you to check that out, where he goes through all of the armor designs, something that he was incredibly frustrated with, particularly with what he said was Captain America's weird flak jacket. And he does touch on these weird circles of whatever Thor's armor is. I'm not really sure why there are circles there. Maybe there's a comic book reason that I'm missing. However, you know, when you start to look at this holistically, and let's go over to the Captain America statue now, which, by the way, I think is a really cool pose. It looks like it's a little plaque, you know, kind of like in memoriam of Captain America. And he's standing there on this cool rock. He's got his shield, very iconic, you know, very heroic pose. He's got that really cool helmet that he wore from the first Avengers movie, you know, kind of standing looking heroically. But then you start to notice some of the character design and the face really just, again, I only can see Chris Evans as Captain America now. But despite that, a lot of the armor issues, a lot of padding, this extra football padding on his shoulders, definitely some extensive padding down his arms and even on his legs. He really looks and reminds me a lot of Leon Kennedy from Resident Evil, more in a police, like SWAT gear type costume than in a more sleek costume where he kind of let his muscles and his superhero, you know, serum kind of do the talking, so to speak. But despite that, I mean, if you don't want to beat up the design, which for me is going to be hard to do, really, I think this isn't a bad collector edition. I think they're really, really relying heavily on you having this strong nostalgia for the game, and I think that they are valuing their digital edition at $80. I feel like that comes into play on this $200 price point, particularly when you look at, you know, you're getting a 12-inch statue, which is awesome. 12-inch statue is a nice size statue. A lot of these collector editions are anywhere from 9 to 11 inches, so you're getting a little bit of extra size there. Unfortunately, a lot of it is this pedestal, which may drive up the cost because this is probably just a solid piece of plastic to kind of fill in this. It would have been nice had this figure been a lot taller and the statue base been a lot shorter, or maybe just get rid of the statue base altogether and just make the statue him standing on this rock. I mean, let the shield kind of be the focal point of the piece rather than, honestly, it's kind of this rock, the way it's kind of laid out. Your eyes naturally drawn to that, and then you kind of work your way around to look at the rest. So for a $200 collector edition, you know, they're really putting a lot of emphasis on that. Like I said, the digital piece, in my opinion. Steelbook, I would expect at this point in the game of collector edition. Those are pretty standard. I don't see much in the way of any kind of art book or soundtrack, and having a wearable belt buckle just seems a little odd of a choice. Although, to be fair, you know, the Ellie edition of The Last of Us 2 includes a backpack. So I have been seeing more along the way of shirts and hats and that sort of thing in these collector editions, but most collectors will probably gravitate to the statue, and it's one of those things that you will either immediately love it or immediately hate it, and that will be your centerpiece of the actual collector edition. The rest of it will most likely fall away. I assume the group photo, maybe if it's printed on nice paper, could be kind of interesting, although I know that the game is going to focus a lot on this Avengers Day and kind of the aftermath of that event. That said, it would have been nice had we got Hulk there. I know it's actually Bruce Banner standing in the back, but it would have been nice. And maybe different photos altogether, or maybe a set of photos of each of the characters, kind of highlighting them in some sort of action pose, might have helped out a little bit. But for me, I think this is a pass. I'm kind of lukewarm on this game in general, but I do feel like it has some potential. So I will post a link in the description below. I said this at the beginning, and I'm going to close out the video saying this again. If you want it, pre-order now. You could always cancel it later, especially from Amazon. I have a feeling this is going to sell out only because Marvel is still really hot right now. And whether you love or hate the new character design, I think enough people are interested in what Square Enix has done with this IP so far that it's going to move units very, very rapidly. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.